work in Mayor Downey's office?
No,
That's all I want to know.
all right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll find out for you, okay?
How you go? You don't know who I am.
I don't care. Well, you don't really know who I am either. No, you
No,
can.
I don't. But
Okay.
see, I know you called a name that I'm trying to find out. That's why I asked you.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. You take down this number, okay? And you can call me later at my.
I don't want to call you later.
I'm the one that I can't help you.
I just wanted the Janet. Since you're calling that name, so please, I think she's the Janet I want.
Okay, well, we're going to let you go for now. But
Yeah.
I was going to give her my phone number. I
Yeah.
would find out anything for this woman. She
No, the
obviously-
last time you ran for office was in 2000 against Hillary.
Yeah, no kidding. I got 12 votes. We don't want to bore Dan with that story. We are caught talking to Dan Schorr,
Yes.
Republican candidate for district attorney. And Dan, of all the, I mean, I have to tell you that I looked on our, I should have done this before, but I looked on our own electronic library at the Journal News office and found one reference to you. But
There are many more.
there are?
I have a full scrapbook of articles from the Journal
Oh,
News
really?
on cases I prosecuted and defendants who are in prison now.
But the one, I'm sure there, you know, I probably didn't get far enough in it,
Okay.
but the one that intrigued me was a reference to a case that you handled was a love triangle case. You got to tell our listeners about this. I know this has nothing to do with running for office, but this was, you know what I'm talking
You're
about?
referring to the Sheila Davalu prosecution?
yes.
That was definitely one of the more bizarre cases I prosecuted.
Yeah.
It started in Pleasantville. I worked with some county police detectives who were just amazing, and a detective in Pleasantville who was also great.
Yeah.
The story is that there's a woman named Sheila Davalu. She told her husband she wanted to play a game with him where she would handcuff him and blindfold him and touch him with objects, and she began to stab him through the heart. She pretended to call 911 for help, and in fact was calling another boyfriend. She ultimately drove him to Westchester Medical Center and then stabbed him again in the Westchester Medical Center parking lot. She thought he was
This was when?
This was in 2003.
2003, okay.
And she told the police, because she thought he was dead or dying, that he had come home from New York City stabbed, and told her that he had had the injuries in New York City. He fortunately did survive, and he's a great guy. I'm still in touch with him. He told them that she stabbed him. When we investigated this further, we found out that the man that she was having the affair with had been engaged recently, and his girlfriend had been stabbed to death and murdered in Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
A horrible, horrible killing that we found a lot of evidence connecting her to. We gave that evidence to Connecticut. They have an arrest warrant for her. Right now she's serving a 25-year prison sentence. I tried her and she was convicted. It was, as a domestic violence prosecutor, 99% of my cases involve male defendants, but a few of them, such as this one, involve female defendants.
That made it unusual.
Right.
There's also a lesson in this, buddy, and I'll
Yes.
leave you to contemplate
Yes.
what that is. But doesn't that? I mean, it's amazing. You know, as a somebody in law enforcement, the just depravity that you must witness and see on a daily basis. That kind of what does it do to your head?
You know,
in
you
terms-
see both. I've been to
Yeah.
a lot of homicide scenes, especially in New York City. Fortunately, we don't have as many here. And man's inhumanity to man is just horrible. But also, as a prosecutor, you get to see the best in people. You see people stepping up to help people. You see people testifying and facing dangerous people to lock them up and protect other people. So you really see the worst and the best in people as a prosecutor.
One of the things that George Pataki did when he was governor of New York was push through the death penalty law that then got overturned. Nobody ever went to no. I mean, if you read that law, it was almost impossible for anyone to actually be
executed.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one of my cases, there was a
yeah.
death sentence in Queens, and it was overturned on appeal because the law is not in effect. That was the Wendy's massacre
Oh, yeah.
in Flushing.
Oh,
I was at that
yes.
crime scene, and I was part of the team that prosecuted.
How many people were?
I believe 7 people were shot in the head in a Wendy's in Flushing, and I believe 5 of them died. It was the most horrific crime scene I've ever been to, and the defendant received the death penalty because the law by the Court of Appeals was deemed to be unfair. There is no death penalty now in New York State. No effective death penalty.
The law wasn't in place? It was in place.
It was in
Yeah.
place, and there was a
Yeah.
death sentence, but the Court of Appeals subsequently ruled that
Got
it
it.
can't be enforced as written.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was very difficult for.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. It's a case like that. you would
Right.
think- Okay. So the obvious question is, how do you feel about the death penalty? For it, against it, and if you're for it, would you change the one that was,
Well, I'm
overturned?
for it. If someone committed an intentional murder with certain circumstances, such as the killing of a police officer or a torture killing or a mass killing, this case where someone shot 7 people point blank in the head, I think it's just that they be executed. However, I am always concerned about the innocent person being subject to that, and we need to have very tight scrutiny over how the death penalty is applied. I think it's clear that in New York, the death penalty is not in effect and will not be in effect. So as a reality, we're not going to have the death penalty in New York in the near future.
Have you looked at it in other states, just in your reading and education, and what's your? I mean, we always hear about Texas, where it seems like every other day someone is. I mean, is it overused in some cases? Do you think, or no?
I hear about states like Texas where it's used a lot. I haven't looked at their cases to see if it's overused. In New York, certainly, it's not being used now, and it won't be used.
Now, what do you do for fun? I mean, you don't work all the time, do you?
Absolutely. No, as we mentioned before, I like to play basketball. I travel as much as I can, either around America or outside the country, or even just locally, go to different things.
What's your we only have a minute left, buddy,
okay.
So if you got a question, get it in now.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but with the time we have remaining,
sure.
Dan, where are you going to be? What's your schedule? What's on your agenda for the coming weeks?
Well,
where
a lot
can
of
people meet you and that kind of thing?
Well, first of all, they can go to my website, which is electdanschorr.com. That's DANSCHORR.com. People can call me, email me, go to my website to get more information. I'll be everywhere. I'm going to be at train stations, local community groups, fairs. I have a bunch of fundraisers coming up at different locations that I'll be publicizing. And people will find that I'm a very accessible person. If they want to talk to me about any issue one-on-one, I'm happy to talk with them. Or if they have a group they'd like me to speak with, I can do that.
Great. Okay. Well, listen. Somebody's giving me the finger in there. No, it's just the index finger. I got it.
1 minute.
Well, Phil, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, we want to thank you for coming on, Dan Schorr, Republican candidate for district attorney here in the beautiful county of Westchester, and we'll be seeing more of you, hopefully, and we'll be doing more shows with you, and also at least one of the opponents out there, the incumbent, Janet DeFiore, and there's probably about 5 other people that might be, maybe you'll run.
No.
I don't know. We'll see. So thanks again, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and in the remaining seconds, buddy, where are you going to be in the next? Going
to Le Cirque for lunch with one of our former colleagues on Monday.
Very good. We will be back again next week. I forgot to tell people when I was off for 2 weeks that I was going to be out of commission, but
yes.
I promise we'll be back next week, because I know we got millions and millions of fans listening from here to Beijing.
Yes.
And I'm sure
worldwide on the internet. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. All right. And that wraps it up for another show of High Noon. And again, we'll see you all next week, next Thursday. Until then, carpe diem.
People sleeping in their shoes. There's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Don't feel like Satan, but I am to them. So I try to forget any way I can.
You've been listening to High Noon on 1460 WVOX and WVOX.com. Tune in again next Thursday at high noon for Journal News feature columnist Phil Reisman and sidekick Buddy Waller on 1460 WVOX.